Great interview from Barish, giving us a lot of information about economics, how everything is playing into the price of cars, and telling us that the car industry has been pretty strong, and telling us how used cars will be affected by the tariffs and new cars, and the idea of bringing plants back to the U.S. is just it's silly, right? I know the president has said that, and in theory maybe, but it'll take a long time before they can actually do that. So hopefully we can, President, I think he'll be speaking to our Prime Minister Trudeau today, and hopefully something can be worked out. Tariffs, tariff update and uncertainty. That's the topic of our next segment. And yeah, so it looks like 25% tariffs have been put on all goods coming from Canada and Mexico, and an additional 10% tariffs put on China. And what does it mean for the markets? Well, I thought before we talked about the markets, we actually have a chart shortly, but we could talk about a couple of deadlines coming up. March 12th, 25% tariffs possibly on steel and aluminum. April 2nd, fast forwarding to next month, 25% tariffs. Yeah, there you go. On EU, chips, phones, pharmaceuticals. That could be the next thing next month. And then this whole idea of about reciprocal tariffs and if someone tariffs the United States will tariff or put a tariff back on that country. And the president has spoken about certain countries in Europe, India, for example. I think his comment about India was they put a lot of tariffs on U.S. goods going into India. So there's a lot of tariff possibilities coming down the road just in the next month alone. Our first chart that we have here is one of the S&P 500. And this will show you, yeah, there it is. This shows you basically in the last month what this idea, the uncertainty of tariffs, are they going to happen? Yes, now that they've happened. Well, how long are they going to be in place for? We're hearing now that there could be some concessions, perhaps as early as this afternoon. Some things may change just in the next couple of hours. I think, as I said, the Prime Minister is set to talk to the President, and things could change. But you could see how volatile the markets have been really since the beginning of February. Next chart here shows the NASDAQ, which is even more sensitive. And you can see a clear decline in the NASDAQ as we got into mid-February. The NASDAQ was bumpy, but nowhere near, did we see anywhere near the declines that we've seen in the last couple of weeks. As we got closer to the March deadline for tariffs on Canada and Mexico, you started to see the market really begin to sell off. We have a TSX chart here, the S&P TSX index, again on the far right-hand side, the uncertainty of tariffs really taking hold. You see a bit of a bounce back on the far right of that chart, but overall a big sell-off. And we have some key tariff headlines that we wanted to show you on our next visual there. There it is. I'll just read out a few. These are some of the headlines we've been seeing from CNBC. Tariffs wipe out all profits for Detroit's big three if they don't raise prices, estimates Barclays. Another one, I guess, second one is kind of funny. Trump takes the dumbest tariff plunge, Wall Street Journal. How to lose the 21st century in 3 easy steps, Washington Post. Further down the road here, Canada and Mexico gambled on free trade future. The bet is turning sour once again, the Wall Street Journal. And here, The Economist, Trump's new tariffs are his most extreme ever. And last but not least here, Reuters comment or headline, tariffs would need to be in place for years to alter U.S.-Canada crude flows, Enbridge says. So a lot of headlines, a lot of uncertainty regarding tariffs, a lot of ups and downs in the market, a lot of clients asking questions, should we be doing something? And with this kind of volatility, it's really hard to answer that question. We just don't know what's going to happen. You sell an investment idea or an investment from your portfolio because of the tariff uncertainty, and then what happens? The president talks to the Prime Minister Trudeau, they come to some agreement, and then the market just zooms higher based on perhaps a cut in tariffs or perhaps some carve-outs for certain industries within the market. I saw automotive earlier today. GM was up, Ford was up, Magna, automotive parts supplier in our country, up a few dollars this morning on this news that perhaps the auto industry will be spared some of these tariffs. So the uncertainty is definitely there. And it, as Barish said in our interview, it's going to continue. It's going to continue for the foreseeable future until we have some certainty about the tariffs, whether they get removed altogether or, unfortunately, if they remain for the longer term. But uncertainty will continue. We just have to continue to look through the uncertainty and continue to stay focused, stay with good quality investments. And that to me is the best way to handle any of this uncertainty.